You got to stop and have time for a corn dog, man.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
fine.
there you go.
We're good. Yeah, plenty.
Yeah, yeah. It's all good.
Snacks are
We
important.
can go live whenever.
Whatever
Let's
the eye
see.
Not
tells
now.
us, we can.
Well, once it says it that it's okay to.
There it is.
Oh, now we're
Don't
there.
worry, I disabled my air compressor today.
Oh, we won't have an air compressor
you
go. Hey, it's better than when I thought I turned my
There we
phone
go.
off
There we
and
go.
I never heard the end of it. But here we go. We ready?
Jamie tries to get his to work.
Yep.
Yeah. Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast with your host, Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, Matt with Wacky Works Workshop, Jen with Jen's Turns, Jamie with JP Woodwork, and Jake with Northside Custom Crafts. Welcome to episode 45 of Creative Makers Podcast. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today we have the real Frank Does It.
Hey guys,
Welcome.
thanks for
There
having
we
me.
go.
How's-
Oops, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go.
Jake,
Hold on.
There you go.
Hey, my
How's
internet's
it
a mile
going,
behind
bud?
everybody
How you
else's, I
doing?
think, today.
Just a little bit. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. Thank you for coming on and joining us today. And we're going to start off by asking you a little bit about yourself and how you got started doing the maker thing here.
Sounds good. So my name's Frank. I'm Frank Does It everywhere except for Instagram because that name was taken. So on Instagram, I'm the real Frank Does It. I'm from Spokane, Washington. I'm an U.S. Army vet and a journeyman lineman by trade. And I do content creation and for woodworking DIY and basically whatever.
Cool.
Whatever sounds
All right.
fun.
So I'm Jake. For everybody at home, I'm Jake Thompson from Northside Custom Crafts, and I usually do an icebreaker. My icebreaker for you already messed it up. So I was going to say, hey, is there another Frank trying to be the Frank or what? Like, what? How did that start? I didn't have a backup plan either, so that's it, dude.
I mean, if there are, then they're not the real ones. So
Yeah, there you go.
I knew you had messed it up when you did that. I was like, it's
Yeah, he got me.
shot.
Just bake
They got
Franks
me.
to go with your hot dogs.
Oh, gosh.
Okay,
The
well,
real
hello
Frank.
everybody. I'm the real
That
Frank.
is it's funny about
I'm Jen.
that. Well, it is funny about coming up with names for it. Oh, I'm totally behind on here.
Maybe you need to get out and come back in, Jake.
Did your internet mess it up?
Bye.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm Jen with Jen's Turn. Thank you for joining us, Frank. And one of the first things that I noticed on your website is you donate a portion of your profits to fighting human trafficking. Each of us here has an organization that's near and dear to our heart, a charity. How did you come to choose that one as your primary?
so I support HRC Ministries, and I learned about them because they came to our church one day and kind of talked about what they do, and they supply homes for women that do escape from the human trafficking world, and then they also have intervention portions where they will actually try to intervene, and they recently just bought Deja Vu, which is a gentleman's club.
I was gonna say.
They bought that, and because they're trying to like make a statement, like, we're gonna turn this place that was once exploiting women into somewhere to help exploited women. So
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me put a follow up from that. Can people donate straight via your website?
I don't think I have that set up, but I probably should do that.
There you go.
Mhm.
So my question, first of all, sorry. Hello, Frank. I'm Jamie from JP Woodwork.
Hey,
So you make some absolutely beautiful cutting boards from various woods. Do you have a favorite wood combination?
Yeah, I like the trifecta of black walnut, maple, and cherry. It's kind of the three
Nice.
staples of cutting boards traditionally. So yeah, they make a
Yeah.
good color
Nice.
combo.
Mm.
So I got to know about the car lift in the shop. I got to know how that came about. Were you? I mean, you just don't see that in a you do woodworking, but I'm kind of like a jack of all trades. I'm not scared to do anything, right? A bunch of us are. And but when I see a car lift, it's funny because Jake had those in his shop too. So I was
Nice.
kind of like, I want to hear the story behind this car lift in there.
Yeah, so when we bought our place here back in 2015, my shop was just an empty shell. It had a dirt floor, no walls built in. I mean, it had the exterior walls, but no like place to put insulation, no ceiling to put insulation, none of that. So when we bought the place, I had money saved up, right? And I'm like, well, if I don't buy this lift now, I'm gonna run out of money and not be able to buy it. So I actually bought it and had it sitting under a hay tarp for a month while I put the concrete floor in and all that stuff. So back then, I wasn't actually doing woodworking. I wanted to have like a fix it all shop, and I always wanted a vehicle lift because I like to save money on auto repairs and try to do them myself and things like that. So that's why I have it. Now it kind of just gets in my way. I do use it, but I just kind of now wish I had a separate shop to put it in.
Hey, well, it came useful lifting that table up and stuff. Just it's got its uses. You can do some pretty cool things with it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, for
I
sure.
think
Unloading table
the last
saws out
time
of the
I
back of
used
my truck.
yeah, so the last time I used my car lifts before I got rid of them, I lifted the uh,
Uh-oh.
CNC machine out of the crate and put it on the table.
Nice. Yep, it's handy for stuff
I,
like that too.
I mean, my internet is horrible, and I apologize. Um, I know you got a lot of micro jig stuff in your shop. Is that stuff as handy as it looks, or if, like when you start getting it, do you just get everything? Is it one of those kind of deals?
Yeah, yeah. So it's super handy, and I actually started using it prior to becoming an affiliate of theirs. Um, I really like the idea of the versatility and usefulness of being able to clamp stuff down and to quickly route in a dovetailed track somewhere on anything that, and I mean you can do it within seconds, right? So you're not like boring boring a slot for T-track and then screwing it down, buying the T-track and all that stuff. And so once I started using it, I kind of became addicted to it, and then they noticed me, and then they offered for me to actually work with them. So, but no, I really do love this stuff. It's super handy.
Nice. I have a few
I can
micro
notice
jig.
like you have it on the table. Next thing you know, it's on the wall and on your on your other tools and everything. It don't
Yeah,
stop.
yeah. And actually, the jig that I invented, I actually um, used micro jig in mind while doing it, so it actually incorporates quite a bit of their hardware too. So, but
Mm.
you can make jigs, you can do whatever with it.
Yeah, it seems pretty nice. I I don't know why I've never gotten any of it. I always look at it and it's just like, it's like if I go to Woodcraft or whatever, and I'm sitting there. I picked it up a few times and then I put it back and I look around a little more and then I end up just leaving. And I don't know. I've never
Because
gotten into it, but I need to try it though.
You should.
You know, once you start, you're
Yeah.
not going to stop. It's like one of those things. You know, it's going to be a rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It looks very useful. I don't know why I've never gotten it. I mean, I'm a sucker for those little jigs and stuff like that. Man, I just if it's anything like, I don't understand why I've never bought it. But I mean, like layout tools and stuff. Whew, I'm like, that's like a woman needing a closet full of shoes. I probably have every,
Hey.
well, I'm just telling you, I got a lot. I mean, layout tools. I probably have, I don't know how many little squares. I mean, I'm a sucker. I see one and I don't have it. It's coming home with me. I mean, and my wife is like, why do you need that? Just don't worry about it. Cause I'm going to put it on the wall and just stare at it. But
Right.
it's just the way it goes.
My layout tools is a 8-foot level, a 4-foot level, tape measure, and a roll of tape to be able to make radiuses.
There you go.
I have a couple of the micro jig pieces, and I really like it, especially the one for the table saw. I like
Yeah.
that one. I think I use that one the most.
The push
I
block.
like their like their new one that they came out with, so you can determine really quickly the half thickness of your board.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't picked that one up yet, but I'm going to.
That one's handy.
Mhm.
I haven't used it a bunch, but I've demoed it, and it's really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah, that's another one that I'm like, I don't understand. I don't know. I need to.
Is it because
I'll
it's
be
yellow
using
and
your
not
affiliate
green,
links.
Joey?
And what's that?
Is
What's that,
it
Jen?
because it's yellow and not green?
Because it's
Joey?
yellow and not
Probably.
green.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well,
That's
the
probably the
clamp
reason.
handles are now green. They used to be
I
yellow.
know. Yeah. Just throw that in there, right? So it'll at least
Nearly
match.
there.
I won't feel as bad when I got to mix and match it with that green stuff that I like so much.
Right?
So I use the gripper all the time, and I was doing some cuts today that I didn't need to use the gripper on, and I felt totally weird not using the gripper. I just used had to use the push stick to go through because the wood was slick. So I had that being so used to it, and I didn't get to use it. I thought I was going to die.
Right. There's just so much control with it. I'm the same way if I have to use a regular push stick.
Yeah. Our other co-host, Matt, who is at home today, not able to join us, is still in the chat, and he has a question. He says, was there inspiration for your miter saw station, or did you just get that from thin air?
Yeah, so I built my assembly table. It's actually the first thing that I've actually made woodworking wise. And I drew inspiration from Jay Bates, who drew inspiration from Ron Paulk. And so basically I have a Ron Paulk assembly table that utilizes, torsion box construction, and kind of just followed Jay Bates's modification of that as far as the base goes. So anyhow, I really like that style of construction. So when I actually designed my miter saw station, torsion boxes. So I learned about torsion boxes from Jay Bates, which ultimately is Ron Paulk is the most famous for using torsion boxes. But yeah, that was the inspiration.
Nice.
It's pretty nice. It's real not pretty. It's really nice. It's big. How long is that?
It's 21 feet long.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Holy monkey!
Which way longer than you need for a miter saw station. So it's also a bench,
Hey,
to
Ain't
put
nothing wrong
my
with it.
little bandsaw on and my spindle sander and stuff like that. But yeah,
I'm fixing to start mine. Well, once I get this office reno done, I'm fixing to make mine and finally pull that green tool out of the box. It's been sitting in there for about a year. I was not gonna use it until I had a proper miter saw station for it. So I've been giving that
Nice.
DeWalt Hex unit, but no, I can't wait to get this done. We were talking about it earlier, and it's like, yeah, I can't wait to get this done. I didn't video any of this stuff for YouTube. It's all just been Instagram and Facebook shorts and stuff. And I said, I'm going to wait till I get to the fun stuff out in the shop. This isn't fun. Just have to do it.
Yeah.
So,
When you say you're the green tool that you have in a box, are you talking about the K-Packs, or are you talking about dominoes for putting your miter saw station together?
well, both,
Probably
but
both.
the Capex is the one that the Capex. I didn't want to ship that, and I was coming through Houston. So where I live, I'm not close to any, like, there's no Rockler, there's no Woodcraft. The closest one is about 2.5 hours away. And, which it's just not something that we just go over there. That's a trip that's going to be a all day deal. So we were coming back through Houston on a trip, and I said, well, let me just walk into Rockler. I had never been to a Rockler before. Never. Cause there's not one around here. Closest one was Houston, and Houston's about 5 hours away. So I got to try it out. Right. And, my wife made the mistake of letting me go in there. She sat in the truck and come out, and I was like, well, they had one. I could not, I didn't want that shipped to the house because I don't trust, on something like that. When you get stuff down here, it usually look like they've been kicking it around the warehouse for a while. So they had one, and that was kind of during when stuff was hard to find. Couldn't really get it, so I swiped it up, and that made a trip back home, and it's been in the box ever since. Kamani, me and Kamani were kind of like neck and neck because he had bought one a long time ago, and he hadn't unveiled his. He hadn't used his yet, but he finally took his out of the box last week, and he made a story that said it was just directed kind of toward me because we were like wondering who was going to be the first one to take it out of the box, and he beat me.
I'm notorious for buying stuff and leaving it in the box, and I've had mine out of the box over a year now, right, Joey?
Look at that. The time that I'm talking
Have you
about
used it?
tools, I'm glad I didn't say anything else, and my wife is in the chat.
Uh-huh.
I was gonna say that's pretty awesome, and isn't it funny the different things that we will tell our wives of why we need this tool?
Oh yeah.
Mm.
See,
Yeah.
she won't send me. I get deliveries every now and then, once
Every
in a
now
blue
and
moon.
then.
But the ones she'll send me a picture are the ones that say Festool. She'll send me a photo.
Yeah.
You got something arrived today, and it's a Festool box. But she won't send me pictures of anything else because she already knows.
That's funny.
Yes.
Oh man. Anyhow.
They're trying to get your wife to tell stories
Yeah, I
out in
know,
the
I see
chat.
Don't get her started. Oh. Who's up?
Who is it now? Is it you, Jen?
Is it me?
Or is it?
I don't know. I will go. So speaking of tools, I'm going to jump in here and ask this question before the guys jump in and tease me about it because they like to do that sort of thing, being guys. Oh, I saw your drum sander.
Oh, God.
That's the tool I don't have and want. So how well do you like it? Do you use it on every board? And I notice sometimes you use it with the sled and sometimes without. What's the determining factor?
Yeah, so I do use it with every board, and I actually bought it for making end grain cutting boards, mainly because I didn't want to. I know you can use a planer for end grain, but it's actually pretty dangerous unless you know exactly what you're doing. And I didn't want to ever take a risk of that thing blowing up on me in a planer, so I got the drum sander strictly for that. I mean, I use it for everything now, but yeah, I use it on every board. I really like it. I have is it 18 or no, 1936 Supermax. Anyways, it's got like a 36-inch capacity because it has an open end, and if you put it through, take it out, flip it around, and send it through again, now you've done a whole 36 inches or however 39, whatever it is. The one the model that's one size smaller than that, I've heard a lot of like wishy-washy things on it. Like it's not really the one to get. So I was lucky to already, get the one that's pretty good. But no, I really like it. I've had it for quite some time and I use it all the time. As far as using a sled with it, the only time I really use a sled with it is if the bottom side, needs a flat reference. So like after the second glue up on a cutting board, you might have a couple pieces that are proud of one another. And so I'll shim it up on the sled and send it through. And then once I have a flat top, then I'll take it off the sled and send it through without the sled.
Gotcha.
So similar to what you would do with the planer. And I actually use the drum sander in place of a planer quite a bit, even when it's not for the end grain, just because the drum sander does a lot less snipe. It's a lot harder to get snipe out of a drum sander than it is a planer. I know I should just pony up and get a good planer, but I have a rigid cheap planer. So it gets snipe. And so if I have a piece that I'm not willing to, that I haven't calculated that I need to, cut the 3 inches off each end, I'll use the drum sander so I don't get snipe and lose all that wood.
Hey, but those planers have gone, they've gone up a lot from pre-COVID. That stuff has all gone up quite a bit, and they're pretty pricey now. Even like the 15-inch planers that were somewhat affordable have now, you're going to be paying closer to $2,000 or so for them, especially if you want a, helical head or whichever, so it's not a small purchase, but they're nice to have. But
they are, and someday I'll get a better one and I'll get a better jointer as well, but until I've got that extra coin, I can't really do that.
Yeah.
I have the DeWalt 13 or 13.5-inch planer, and I like it, but it does get some tear out, especially with burl. But that, I think, is just the nature of the wood. You never know what you're going to get with burl. But I don't have the helical head on that, and I wonder how much it would improve it.
Yeah, probably
I
quite a bit.
hear a lot. I hear good things about doing that. Putting that, is that the 735 that you have?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I hear good things. Everybody just rant and raves about that. It makes a big difference. Quiets it down. It makes a big difference on sound, but also finish. I don't know, but I think that's probably like a $300-$400 upgrade, somewhere closer to $400.
Yeah, I think
Somewhere
so.
around there for that helical head or spiral, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's probably worth it if it's going to keep you from having tear out or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Sheelix actually makes one for my planer also, but I was kind of looking at that, and it's like if I want to spend $400 more, and I want to upgrade my planer into more width capacity, I'm just gonna wait.
Yeah, because that's kind of what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm if I need to upgrade, and that's probably gonna be the next thing that I do. Get, she's gonna be like, no, you're not. But yeah, as I'm looking at a 20-inch at least. That's what I want to get. I think if you're gonna spend the money on something like that, might as well at least go to that, because that somewhat covers a lot of the stuff that you'll do. And just the simple fact of having a piece of equipment that's a lot heavier and stable versus messing with these little ones. There's nothing wrong with them, don't get me wrong. I'm not downing them. They work good, but
For sure.
at some point, it's nice to have that bigger piece that you don't have to make things to fit it and then have to do extra glue ups. It's a lot nicer.
Well, everyone has either had one or still has a lunchbox planer, and I'm sure everyone knows that it would sure be handy to have a nice cast iron, like
Oh yeah.
awesome planer, you know, that you don't, because everyone's had the struggles of having a small planer, right? You have to, yeah, even with the DeWalt one, which is way nicer than mine, you have to, you know, make like a flat base for it, because the one that comes with it's not actually good and it flexes and you get snipe. And so I think every one of us probably dreams of having a nice 20-inch cast iron like Laguna, you know, is what I want, but
Right.
or whatever, Powermatic, nice, you know, true to where you're not having to mess with the beds all the time, the in and out feeds all the time, and but
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're getting it on in the chat over there. I need but yeah, that's they're nice.
Settle
That's the
down.
biggest thing, is trying to get rid of that snipe, and that's always an issue, right? And you know,
Mhm.
doesn't mean by getting one of those big ones, you still got to tweak them a little bit to try to get rid of it. And there's things you can do, but sure are nice to have if you can
Yeah.
get one.
I just incorporate snipe into the project.
there you go.
Jake. It's a design
Little
feature. Uh,
All right, so we've already mentioned your miter saw. So I'm actually looking to get some more Bosch tools. I noticed that you've got a Bosch saw. So what kind of saw is it that you've got, and what do you think of it?
So my Bosch miter saw is a 12-inch compound sliding miter saw. It has the articulating arm, so it's not actually sliding, but I like it. Everyone that has a Bosch knows that the dust collection leaves a lot to be desired. The dust collection sucks on it out of the box, but it's been a pretty good true saw for me. I had a guy comment on my Facebook post today and was like, "That saw is garbage" and all this stuff. But I know a lot of people that have it and they actually like it, but everybody complains about the dust collection.
Yeah, I did notice you made a little bit of an adapter to it.
Yeah, and that was actually from
Yeah.
Benchtop, a buddy of mine that he designed and 3D printed. That actually contains the dust phenomenally well.
So is
Nice.
that the attachment that takes place of what's on there? That's like what, there's so many different versions of it out there.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, the little dust chute that's on the, I'm kind of reverse here. The dust chute that's on the bottom of the saw,
Right.
that little rubber, it replaces that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
collects a lot more now. I mean, is it it's, you're not going to get everything, but it does a heck of a lot better, I'm assuming.
Above 90%.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty
Can't
cool.
can't ask for more than that, because that stuff just goes everywhere.
Yep.
when you're using one
Exactly.
of those.
Yeah.
So let's take it back. I want to talk about social media. How do you manage all these different platforms that you're doing, as far as trying to get content out to everything? I know for all of us, I'm going to speak for myself. It's a struggle to try to keep up with all that stuff. And, you know, you do TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and, you know, a few of those platforms you can do in one version and you could probably get footage to go to each one. But when you turn around and try to do long form on YouTube, that's a totally different animal. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a struggle. I started on YouTube, and if anyone ever goes to my YouTube channel, you can see that in the past I've put out like one video per year. When TikTok launched, I just threw up a video on there just because, and like my first video ever got like over 100,000 views. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool to get a little bit of recognition for my projects and stuff. So I started. Back then in 2020, I was focusing just mainly on TikTok. And then and I also posted, photos and stuff on Instagram, but that was before Instagram Reels. Once Instagram Reels kicked off, then I got serious about Instagram and started doing that. I neglected Facebook until about a year ago. So I'm pretty small on Facebook. I have like 24,000 over there, but I just take for those three
That's
for
real
doing like
small.
real, well, comparatively compared to my other outlets, but those three are nice because you can basically use the same video that you edited for all three of them. Facebook's a little bit adds a little bit of a kink to my time because any reel that I post on Facebook, I re-edit or at least change the music to copyright-free music so that I can get paid for ads on reels on Facebook. And then I'm starting to focus a lot more on YouTube. My problem is I'm a perfectionist and I have a hard time putting videos out unless I find that they're awesome. So I end up getting a little bit of writer's block with YouTube. But I'm trying to really nail that down. And then Facebook, if you're monetized and you post 3 to 5 minute videos, you can actually get paid quite a bit more than, if you would for a reel on Facebook. So that's a time suck too, because I'm trying to edit longer form videos for Facebook to hit that 3 to 5 minute mark, which that's a good 2 days of editing. And then TikTok, if you put the video that's over a minute long, you get paid quite a bit more also. And so, but they want, the full, your full screen on your phone filled up. Facebook wants a square. So I'm kind of able to repurpose those 3 to 5 minute videos between Facebook and TikTok, but I have to reformat the sizing and I have to do 2 separate music tracks because I want to use the trending audio on TikTok, which they allow you to use copyrighted music on TikTok and still get paid, but Facebook does not. So 2 musics, 2 size formats. So there's a lot. And I mean, to be honest, I've been home since Thanksgiving trying to go full time here. And I have not made any sawdust. It's only been editing because I had a lot of footage from before I went on my little sabbatical to California for 4 months, where I had a bunch of footage that I still needed to edit and get out. So I'm still working on that stuff, and I'm still working on, because I've had some success on Facebook with getting paid for those longer videos, and so I'm trying to repurpose a lot of my older projects into 3 to 5 minute videos. So I'm spending a lot of time on my computer and not very much time with my tools. So, but eventually I'll get going to where I can, just do more building and a little less editing.
Yeah, that's a big thing that we all.
So that would go into my question would be the editing.
Thanks having in there, ladies.
My internet sucks, dude.
Go ahead, Jake.
Hold on. So you go everything you everything you do goes into your computer to edit. You don't do any on your phone.
Yep. I actually do use my phone for stories. So, like if I do like an unboxing or something, like I did, I don't know if any of you saw my stories yesterday, and I did that bourbon unboxing that I had a company reach out wanting me to, promote their bourbon, which I love bourbon, but, being a family content page of all ages, I don't want to have it be living on my page. So I just said, yeah, I'll make a story, right? Well, I wanted to make a cool story, so I had like 3 separate shots. I didn't, instead of throwing it on my computer to edit it, I used the app called Splice. And I think it's a paid app. It's like $12-13 a month, but it's pretty intuitive. You can split and delete and speed up and use transitions. and it's quick on my phone for stuff like that, because I'm not good at like recording a story like you normally do, like if you're going to talk on there. Especially for
Yeah.
like something like that, like it's usually longer than I want it to be, so I want to be able to edit it. So I use my phone for that, but everything else I edit on DaVinci Resolve on my computer.
So have you? Okay, well, I don't want to skip out a turn, but I was just going to elaborate. So do you? There's a big, like, people talk, right? And it's like, well, if you edit using Instagram editor, that they tend to, the algorithm tends to push your stuff a little more versus you bringing in a fully edited video and just throwing it on there, right? Have you noticed a difference from doing that, or since like, well, for instance, you're saying you edit everything on your computer, then you bring it onto the platforms and disperse it that way. Um, did you notice any difference? Have you tried like maybe editing one, or were you doing that and then notice any difference in getting it out there for
Yeah,
views?
I think there is probably some truth to that. I see that being more, it's hard for us, like in the maker community, because our projects are so long, and I mean, I guess you could bring in a bunch of shots and then edit it in there, but then guess what? You got to re-edit it in TikTok's platform and all this stuff, right? So it's completely a time suck if you were going to do that. I think that if someone's, their main focus is Instagram and they're like a beauty influencer or something, and they have to take some shots of different outfits they put on or something, I don't think that it would be too much of a
Like
hassle
Jamie.
for that. And it probably does push it for stuff like that. But like, to me, I tried it for a while on TikTok in the beginning, and I don't know that they pushed my stuff more, but I don't know.
I find TikTok, I don't know what it is. I put stuff in there and I just find it difficult with their editing stuff. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just don't like it, versus everything else. Like, seems like Facebook is starting to come around. YouTube is junk. I'll be honest. For shorts, their editing stuff my opinion, is junk. So,
Yeah.
but I still use it, right? And I'll usually get one short edited, and then I'll disperse it to those platforms. But I'll go in there and I'll tweak it just a little bit. Now, Instagram is YouTube is doing pretty good as far as shorts go on there. Facebook is hit and miss, but of course you would think that Facebook and Instagram would be kind of like on the same level, since they're basically one company, kind
Right.
of, but I find TikTok just I just can't, I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. And therefore if I bring something in there, it's just once in a blue moon that I do something on there.
Giggles.
Yeah. I go to there to laugh.
Yeah, and like I say, I haven't messed with any of those in-app editors since 2020, because this just doesn't make sense to me, or for me. And to be honest, I don't feel like I've been held back because I don't.
Cool. That's good to know.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So you were talking about your page is family oriented. There's a lot of family content on there. You involve your kids and sometimes your wife, and it's hilarious. I really
Thank you.
enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
My fingers hurt.
Is it generally easy to get them to cooperate, or do you have to bribe them and like, so we're going to do this?
No, it's actually super easy. They all kind of want to hang out with me and stuff. And so like my son, he's actually has like a movie director type mind on, like, you should see some of the videos that he makes. He doesn't publish them, but like he'll come up and be like, "Dad, look what we made." And he's got his sisters acting, and he's gotten all these like intricate shots that last like half a second, but it tells the story. Like, it's it's like watching, something that Steven Spielberg directed, the different shots so he's got a mind for that. He's also a pretty good actor. And my oldest daughter, she's really interested in fixing things. And she's said that she wants to be a woodworker. And my middle daughter, she's a really good actress, and she just loves spending time with me. So she likes to come out to the shop, especially for like glue ups and stuff. And but then Fiona, she's a real character, my youngest one. She's she's just funny, and they all like to kind of be on camera and stuff. And Fiona actually talks to her Kindle, which doesn't even go anywhere, right? It's kind of a dumbed down Kindle. But she'd be like, "So guys, today we're having macaroni and cheese for lunch," and she's a ham. So,
Yeah.
they're all really cooperative in making those videos. Like that one with the Happy Gilmore scene, "My Fingers Hurt." That took a lot of shots to get everything just right, and they had no issues doing it. Even my youngest one. So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah, they do really good. That's funny.
Yeah. All right. So when you go into recording a video, do you already have an idea on what you're going to do and what direction to take?
Yeah, I think that's something that I need to get better at, is like scripting a video before I do it. I mainly have a project in mind, right? So I'm going to build this thing and I'm going to film it. And then afterwards, I'm going to edit it. And then I'm going to do a voiceover. And then I'm going to put it out there, right? So that's where my mind's at. I need to get a little bit more better at writing, like, a storyline and establishing that, right? Because, more and more today, like, people want good storytelling. I feel like I do a pretty good job at storytelling on my smaller content, just via here's the beginning of the process and walk you through it. On long form, I think I just need to be able to script things out a little bit better. They say that you should spend more time on your title and thumbnail than you do actually on the build. And I've never really understood that, so I'm still trying to kind of wrap my mind around that. But a lot of it is, your click-through rate, which is like if they see your thumbnail and they click on it, that's good, right? Or if they don't, it's bad. From what I've been told, if your click rate's high, even if like your audience retention kind of goes downhill a little bit, like YouTube's still going to be showing people your video. People aren't as picky on YouTube as people think. Like, your audience isn't as picky as people think. People coming from Instagram, TikTok, the places with the really short attention span audience, you have to hold those people for those 8 to 15 seconds, or else your video will tank. I don't think it's like that on YouTube. The YouTube audience wants to sit there and watch a video. As long as you keep it engaging and it's interesting, they're going to watch it, even if it's not like bam, 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 bam with all these crazy shots and stuff. I mean, that stuff helps, right? But from my understanding, there's, quite a bit of difference there. So I do need to get better at, scripting.
Jamie changed the thumbnail the other day, and you could watch the graph, watch it go up as soon as he changed the thumbnail.
Wow.
The first one must have sucked.
It really did. I thought I was doing something special, but the video just tanked straight away. And the second I changed it, there was a great spike, and it flew straight up.
I've heard so many people say that.
Yeah, I had some videos that were dead, like 0 views in the last 48 hours, nothing. And I went in there and I changed thumbnails on them, and they're now starting to go up. They're starting to get views. So it does help. It does help. I also heard I've heard from other people, just like, don't change the title. Don't change your title, change the thumbnail. And because that's where they said it'll mess it up. But again, you hear different stories, right? It's just, but like I've heard some say changing the thumbnail. I've heard people say, like, within the first 9 days. If you see it and it's starting to go down and you're not getting what you usually get, go in there and change it. I think we've had conversations where like Jake's heard, like if they're not getting the views they see within the first hour, boom, they're changing the thumbnail right away to do it, because that will help. Thumbnails will help. I see it on mine, because I had some videos that were completely just dead, nothing, and now they're starting to get views, and it's hard. It's tough to get to get those things right. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
I have one, and it's going to take you a second to hear me. I had a how to pour silicone into silicone video, and it was like 30 or 40 views every 48 hours. I changed the thumbnail, and now it gets 100 every 48 hours, like all the time now, just from the thumbnail.
Nice. I need to get better at doing thumbnails. I mean, I feel like I have an artistic side, but I don't know. I guess I don't know what catches the eye, but I try to make good thumbnails. But
what do you use though?
really not.
What platform do you use? Do you use anything?
I use Canva to make them.
Yeah. Do you use the paid version or?
Yeah.
Because that's what we use, and I don't know. Jake got on it, and Jake's freaking a whiz at it now. And they were using it, but and then I finally convinced him, just like he convinces me to buy stuff. I was like, dude, you got to pay for it, and it opens you up to a whole nother realm of stuff. And once you do that, it's pretty powerful. I don't know everything about it, but it's got a lot of stuff, that you can utilize, not just for thumbnails. It's a lot more. But yeah, I love it, man. It's so easy to go in there and boom, you can kick a thumbnail out pretty quick, even using their templates, just changing it around,
Yeah.
Yeah, Bonnie in the chat says, hire your son to make your thumbnails.
I like that idea.
Yeah. You might have a young editor on your hands there.
I was actually trying to get him to edit my videos for me, but he's still a little bit young. He's probably going to be an employee of mine at some point.
There you go.
Hey, videographers ain't cheap. You making one. So
I hear it's not against child labor laws if it's your own kids.
That's true. True.
Yeah.
So what's your go-to tool in the shop? What do you use the most?
Definitely my table saw. Definitely.
Like that.
We talk about the miter saw and how cool my miter saw station is and stuff like that, but the irony is I don't use it much. I use it to rough cut, but anything that I want, like for precision stuff, like I'd use my sled that I made on the table saw for cross cuts. So definitely table saw.
How do you like that saw stop?
I like it a lot. I actually bought the saw stop for the saw, not the safety feature. So the safety feature is, icing on the cake, but I bought it because it's a nice saw, and it really is. I got the industrial version, and it's a tank, and it's true. Yeah, the fence stays true. I mean, I have zero complaints.
Yeah, I like mine. It's when I got it, it's well built, and just having that safety feature, especially with little ones, especially they're probably still too young to mess with it, but at least you have that safety in there if something was to happen or whatever, that it does work, and you're not going to have any horrible accidents happen with that thing, but they're nice.
Me and Jamie, you hear a lot of people for this conversation.
you hear a lot of people that complain about it, and they're like, you don't need that saw, and you just need to be careful. And well, I cut my finger on a bandsaw, and you shouldn't cut your finger on a bandsaw. And I cut mine. It's just you get busy and things are going on in your head other than, sometimes you're just not clearly there and stuff happens quick. And
yeah, I mean, accidents happen, right? My high school woodshop teacher, he lost fingers after graduated high school, and he was a really good woodworker who knew what he was doing, and he taught decades of children how to run a table saw safely, myself included, and an accident happened to him. So accidents do happen, even if you're an expert in all this stuff. So to me, those comments, they're in one ear and out the other, because it's foolish to think that that's just the way you should think, right? You don't need that. Just get in there until you figure out how to do it, and hopefully you don't lose a finger in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jen will even say it to a lot of people, and even I've had some kickbacks on table saws where it shot stuff completely out of my hands and shot it out of the barn, and they are terrifying. After that happens, you're really, really careful then, right? And then you get a little laxed after a while, and you're back to the same stuff, and you're not really paying full attention. And on one of those saws, things happen quick and they're strong, and you're not going to stop them. It's made to cut, and that's what it's going to do. And I'm the same way. When I've been in conversations where they start, you're not a woodworker, you don't, whatever. It's like, yeah, whatever, we
call them old.
Yeah. And it's like, whatever, man, to each their own, but don't down somebody just because they got the saw. It's just like, that's an added feature that, especially with kids around, and
I mean, I've had that same train of thought, right? Like for snowboarding, when I learned how to snowboard, I was too cool to wear a helmet. I'm like, if I'm too good to crash and hit my head, right? Well, like 2 concussions later, I just started wearing a helmet. Should have wore one from the beginning.
Well, it's funny though, when you're young, it's full throttle, right? And as you get older, you get wiser, and then you start thinking, or at least for myself, I'm always like, well, if I do this, what can happen? So you start thinking of scenarios like, what if this happens? Or, that's just me, my train of thought sometimes. And it's like, when I think back when I was younger, I'm like, how did I make it this far? Because some of the stuff that I did back then, I'm surprised I'm still here. And there's a lot of people like that, right?
It just hurts way longer now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a more thought out process when you're doing things now. It's like you're seeing what could happen if I do this, what's going to happen and what's going to be my reaction, or should I just play it safe and maybe go this way, So it's funny now the way your mind thinks as you get older.
For sure.
Yeah.
We're not made out of rubber anymore.
No.
Yeah.
No, those days, the recoup time's a lot longer now.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Jake.
Okay, wait for the question. Workbench Con, the pros and cons to doing it. How good of a time did you have going? What's it, if somebody's just going to go to meet your buddies, is it worth going? And talk about your experience, please.
Yeah, if you're just going to meet your buddies, then yeah, I mean, it's the ultimate place to go to do that. It's a good place to meet people that you have connected with online that you haven't met in person, or if there's someone that you look up to, it's a good place to meet them also, pick their brains. I was able to pick the brains of a lot of people that I look up to, and I mean, the pros are really the connections that you make, the networking that you do there. I didn't really see any cons except for Workbench Con. Please don't be upset with me. I would have liked to see eggs at breakfast on the first day.
Eggs are a must, man. That's a no for me. I gotta have my eggs and bacon in the morning, and sausage.
Exactly.
And biscuits.
But no,
tortilla.
There's really no cons to it, to be honest with you. I mean, it's just all around a good time. And there's a lot to be learned. A lot of the classes and sessions were really valuable. It's stuff that, you know, you don't really hear a lot that people talk about, and it's a good place to kind of be able to learn things from people that you look up to who don't normally like publicly share stuff like that. So I'd say that it's very valuable to go, and I would recommend for anybody to go. And it doesn't matter if you have a social media presence or not. It really doesn't matter. Everybody's cool. Everybody wants to help you grow. Um, so yeah, it's a good experience.
Very nice.
Mm.
I know we're getting close to time, so maybe this is the speed round. We'll start. So you were in the Army. You've done lineman work, and I heard you mention that you're trying to do this full time. So I'm wondering, first, my question is, what skills from the Army? I'm an Army mom. What skills from the
Yeah.
Army have you brought forward in your
And me.
careers? And and what do you mean by going full time? Like, are you not doing lineman work anymore? Are you strictly focusing on your woodworking and social media?
Yeah, so as far as my Army time goes and how that's helped me, I think a lot of it's tenacity and, you know, having a can-do attitude, and, you know, looking back on my life and seeing all the things that I've overcome. And, you know, there's no real skills, like actual like motor skills that I picked up from the Army that I use today, really. But it's a lot of mental toughness to be able to keep going when things get tough. Right now, yeah, I'm trying to go full time. So right now, currently, I'm not currently doing any lineman work. I ended up walking away from a job of 8 years back in June, and going to California to try to stack up a bunch of money to be able to take 6 months off for my dream of doing this full time. So I've been at home since Thanksgiving on my savings that I made, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm most likely going to have to pick up some contract lineman work within the next couple months, but I'm just going to keep grinding, going to keep, you know, going and making some quick money as a lineman, and then working on this until I make this full time. So really enjoyed, you know, being home with the wife and kids, and, you know, I don't want to stop doing it. It's been super valuable to be more present in my kid's life, and with my wife also. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
in California, and we have had some pretty crazy storms, so I'm sure they're going to need some lineman work down here again pretty
Yeah.
quick.
yeah, and when I was
Very
down there, I was working fire mitigation jobs in around Wairika, California,
Uh-huh.
and we were actually doing helicopter work. So they would, you know, they'd fly us under the helicopter on the end of a rope, basically, so that we didn't have to hike in, because it would take half a day to hike in, and then you'd set like one pole and then hike out. Whereas if they fly you in real quick, it's a couple minute flight, drop you and the crew off, and then you can call for a pole, and you could set like 3 or 4 poles a day. So it was pretty cool. They'd fly us in, then they'd fly the pole in, and then, you know, you'd have to guide the pilot to put the pole in the hole that you dug, or that was already there from spider excavator, but drop it in and have them cut the load and plumb the pole and fill it with dirt and move on to the next one. It was a lot of fun work.
Nice.
But
Wow.
that's 4 months I spent away from my family living in my RV, so I don't really want to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets old.
Yeah. So I've already mentioned your cutting boards once already today. So do you by any chance have, let's say, for example, 5 sets of cutting boards to sell, or do you also do commission pieces as well?
So I never really have, just because I don't have the capability to pump out mass quantities in order to make it worth the time. So like one of those cutting boards, for instance, takes quite a bit of time and about $200 in material. Most people don't want to pay $400 for a cutting board. And at the end of the day, is the $200 worth like the 3 or 4 days you spent building it? You know what I mean? So it's kind of one of those things where I've only really built things for content. You know, that being said, if I got bigger to where I started moving on to more ventures, like if I got a CNC and started pumping out the jig that I designed and made, and so I could sell it mass quantities, I'd probably do that, right? But as far as like making the cutting boards for sale, I think I've sold one cutting board, and it was to a friend who wanted me to make him one. All the other cutting boards have been for friends, but it's been like gifts, like Christmas gifts, or to my mother-in-law, get a Christmas gift. But one of my high school friends was like, "Hey, dude, I really want you to make me one. I'll pay you." So I was like, "All right, I'm a little busy. If you can wait 6 months for one, I'll make you one."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and when you
So
film
you kinda-
things, it takes twice as long too, right?
Yeah. So you kind of mentioned it. Do you see yourself getting you a CNC in the future?
I do in the future. I got to figure out a layout in my shop to see if I can do it and be able to still drive vehicles in on my lift.
There you
There you go.
Keep the lift.
Hey, if
I'm talking
anything,
about.
you could just make the table on the lift and lift it out of the way, and bring it back down when you need to
That's
use
a good
it. You know?
idea.
Just
Yeah,
saying.
We'll do a question from Matt,
I like
and
that
then
idea.
if we'll see if Jake has one last one.
Matt's on
Matt
painkillers,
says,
man.
he says, "What's going on with your chickens? First, are they yours or your kids? And what all went into the coop?"
So the chickens are all of us, right? I'm actually the chicken dad. I'm the one that kind of got us into chickens, and I'm the one that does chicken math, not my wife. But as far as what went into the coop, I designed so I have a shed down that was already here when we bought the place, and it was a shed with 2 lean-tos on it, and so designed on SketchUp to be able to enclose one of those lean-tos, and that's the coop. And my coop is big enough to house 30 chickens.
Wow.
And I normally have about 30. Right now I'm down to about 15 because we live on a face, and we have bald eagles and hawks and skunks and raccoons and coyotes, and so we lose some chickens every year, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jake. You got a last
But
one
we
before
love
we wrap it up?
You can't. Hey, my internet's messed up, and you can't tell time.
Yeah. Well, we're a little
What?
past it, but we're all right. Is your time behind?
Nah.
Anyhow,
One last question then. Shaper 3D, we do 3D printing and stuff, and I've seen that you have like a link to that stuff. Is it pretty cool, and is it hard to learn?
yeah, so Shaper 3D is actually my preferred design platform now. I learned I basically, when I first started designing stuff, I used SketchUp. The main reason why I switched to Shaper 3D is because they reached out to me and wanted to sponsor me, and so I was like, I'll try to learn your program. Once I learned their program, I actually like it a lot better because you can do renderings a lot better than you can on SketchUp. You can do you can transcribe your design into 2D, so it's easier to get like if you're gonna make and sell plans, it's easier to translate your project into into 2D, like PDF format, and with like measurements and stuff like that of what your components are. SketchUp, you have to really just do it all by hand and move this piece of design, pull this piece off your design, move it over here, take a screenshot of it, throw it into your PDF. And it's Shaper 3D is the visualization tools a lot better too. Like you can put wood grain on it. I know you can do that SketchUp too, but it doesn't look realistic. The Shaper 3D like looks super realistic. If you scroll down on my Instagram, probably quite a ways, you'll see I designed a little. I remodeled one of Microjig's little dovetail screws in a video for Shaper 3D.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can see there, like when I clicked on the visualization tool, like it actually looks pretty real. And I actually designed my whole jig on Shaper 3D. And on my YouTube video for my handle cutting jig, there's a little bit of an ad read for Shaper 3D in there where it shows the jig that I designed on there, and that visualization tool makes it look really, really nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, Frank, you done? I know your internet, Jake. Okay. Frank, we appreciate you. This is the day of the internet mess up here. It's got everything a little jacked up, but we appreciate you coming on. And if you have any final thoughts or anything coming up for you, go ahead and let everybody know what's coming up.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to be on here and just happy to chat with all you guys. I'm gonna be releasing quite a few YouTube videos in the near future. I'm going to be doing a Lazy Susan video, which is already built. I'm actually going to be doing a YouTube video for my miter saw station as well. I have it pretty much edited, but I want to get my plans drawn up because I've had a lot of interest on the other platforms for plans. So I kind of want to get those ready. So, because that's another way to make revenue. But I also want to break that build up into smaller videos, smaller teaching type videos. So, yeah, I'm still going to be active on all the other platforms, but I'm really focusing on YouTube. Like I got to stop scrolling on my phone so much and do a little more editing. So.
There you go.
Nice.
There you go. Jenny.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank, for joining us. Enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about you. Coming up, I have a wedding fair at the end of the month. I went to a jury process this morning for the biggest craft fair of the year, and that's in December. So we will not find out until early May if we got that. So working on other orders in the meantime.
Cool.
Right.
Just out here in the shop, grinding away, making videos, and we've got cartoons on Saturday.
There you go. Here we go. Whoops. Hey, you might hear this later, but I'm saying it now. That cartoons was awesome. Jamie was turning a bowl on cartoons from the car show, and it was awesome. And we raised almost $11,500. And the person that won out of 15,000 tickets was from Amarillo. So that went well. Redoing the shop, redoing the studio in here, and I'm almost done. We have one heck of a show install for Saturday. There you go.
Well, I'm continuing on my renovation here. I'm fixing to get ready to knock the wall out and finish up on the drywall and hopefully wrap this up in another couple of weeks or less. I'm ready to get this over with so I can get my shop back into order and get this disaster cleaned up and everything reorganized here in the office. Other than that, yeah, that's what I'm up to. Next week on the show, we've got Black Tail Studios is going to be on here. next Wednesday, 7:30 Central Standard Time. Please remember that if you could please go to iTunes or any platform now, I think Spotify will allow you to give us a review and give us, I need 10 stars.
10
but
stars.
please leave us a review. That'll help us with our rankings. And we also now have our Patreon up at patreon.com/Creative Makers Podcast. So go take a look at that. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thank you, Frank, for being here with us. And we're going to go on and get on out of here. Y'all have a good evening. We'll see y'all next week. Bye now.